Hey guys, so I had three ideas for three different stories from three different genres in my head, not knowing which one to start with. And I was so sure I was going to start off with the greatest warlock that ever lived. But Madam Regina's son is just going to have to wait. I changed my mind, not because I think this will be a better story, but I wanted to slow down and take a different turn. I've been writing a lot of mystery, thriller, horror, and fantasy, and I wanted to go into another direction. I wrote the poem literally read through the lines, and that's what gave me the inspiration to write this love story. So here it goes. These are the days, episode 14. Things are different back at home. So this episode begins where Cindy's coming back from her therapy session with Robert Davidson. She rushed a little because when he texted her, he said that they needed to talk. She also needed to tell him what she's been keeping secret all these years. When she walks into the house, it's very quiet. She hears his voice from the living room. He tells her that Jessica is sleeping at a friend's house and that Bailey is sleeping at her parents' house. She knew that with how he arranged this, that it must be very serious. She asked him how his trip was. He patted the couch while moving a wine glass near that direction, telling her, it's time to talk. Cindy says, if this is about your mother, I'm so sorry about that. I just came back from the therapist and we talked, and I know I shouldn't have gotten involved in your past. Ryan appreciates this, but there's so much more that she doesn't know that he needs to tell her. And he now knows that she has something to tell him as well because of the text she sent back when she was in Robert Davidson's office. The scenery changes, and now Dominic is putting a spare key into the knob. He turned it holding a brown bag inside with hot soup and crackers that he got at a restaurant for Chris because he didn't show up at work. He called out sick. So Dominic walks into the house very comfortably, calling out Chris's name, thinking that he's upstairs in bed, but he's just a few feet away, and he doesn't look sick at all. He wants to know what's going on with him. Ever since Chris came back from Camp Everwood, he's been thinking a lot of his past, what he went through, especially with the nightmare. And since he feels like he screwed up with Ryan, he thinks maybe there's a chance to fix things with his family, especially since it's been so long since he left home. He tells Dominic that his parents moved back to their childhood home and that he wants to go see them. Dominic doesn't think this is a good idea. He says, I know that maybe things didn't go down how you expected them to when you went to Everwood, but don't you think that this is drastic? Chris tells him that he has to get closure, that it's been so many years and there's a possibility they had a change of heart. Dominic argues. You wanted the same thing with Ryan, and look what happened. I don't want you to get your hopes up high. Chris knew he had a point. He looked at the sticky note with the directions on it, but he has to at least try. Dominic asked him about Ryan, but without using his name. Chris says he hasn't heard from him and is so sure that he won't. Dominic laughs and says, well, at least you tried. Chris gets the directions and his keys, about to walk out of the house, and when he gives Dominic a hug and tells him, thank you for always being my family. Throughout the whole story, Dominic was there for Chris as a comedy relief. However, there is this unspoken emotion, a family between them that is really beautiful. It's something that he never got at home, but he made with a friend. In this episode, there's a lot going on back and forth between Ryan's world and Chris's world. And with both scenarios, there's so many intense emotion because we're talking about the present and we're letting go of the past. Now, we're back with Ryan and Cindy on the couch. He's told her his dark secret with his stepfather. She was in shock, but at the same time, all the pieces to the puzzle were put together because of the lack of intimacy in the bedroom. Cindy now understands the grudge between mother and son and why he's held it for so long, and will be more understanding for him to take time to forgive her. He even says he has to. Cindy then was going to open up about her secret, but then he says there's more. He goes in to tell her that when he was a little kid, going to Camp Everwood was an escape from all the abuse and the rape that was going on at home. He even told her the relationship that was molding between him and Chris, and how this time, when he revisited the Camp Everwood, there was a kiss. For a moment, Cindy thought back to when she was in the waiting room, waiting for Robert Davidson to speak to her. She picked up the book, The Other Man, Could he have written it? He said no. I thought that was a clever concept to involve that story in this because of the tiny similarities. Cindy then goes on about the affair she had with the history teacher 2 years ago. But Ryan already knew he never said anything because he knew how happy this made her. They both agreed that they needed to tell the kids, but they're going to wait a week. And that's for Ryan. He thinks it's best that he leaves. When we go back to Chris and his revisit with parents, hoping for there to be a welcome home. In the beginning there is, but some things never change. Stay tuned for the final episode.